Picnicking? Picnicking, Miss Dandridge? Where, in St. Louis?
Oh, no, sir, just out by the waterfall. But I'm sorry.
Never apologize, mister. It's a sign of weakness.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and today I'm going to talk about a couple reports out there that Tom King didn't initially plan to kill off Alfred during his City of Bane story arc. I actually talked about this a couple of times, at least once, but I think it was twice while I was reviewing the series. It had a couple other videos related to it that I actually did in fact know that Tom King didn't intend to kill Alfred during City of Bane and was actually not very happy with DC Editorial over it. I'm going to read one article from CBR.com where Tom King talks about Alfred's death and how he was pushed into it. I'll give my thoughts on that and how it all adds up. Also, it's been suggested in some of my comments that maybe I owe Tom King an apology now, so there might be an apology in store for Tom King during that part of the video. Then I'm going to read another article from CBR.com where Tom King talks about what Alfred's death is leading to as far as 5G. I'll then give my thoughts on that, and that'll be the video. First, I'll read the CBR.com article about Tom King not wanting to kill Alfred. During Batman's recent City of Bane arc, the story's titular villain killed Alfred Pennyworth by breaking his neck. Writer Tom King has now revealed DC encouraged him to kill Bruce Wayne's beloved butler and father figure. While appearing as a guest on Word Balloon, King was asked about the choice to kill Alfred and whether he got pushback when it came to ending the hero's life. Quote, "I got the opposite of pushback. I got pushed forward. I sort of had this cliffhanger where Alfred at the end could perish, and I put it in the script like, of course we'll figure this out later and he's not dead. And DC's like, no, why isn't he? Why is he not dead? And I'm like, well, because he's Alfred and he has to live forever because he's a fantastic character. And they're like, no, he's dead," unquote. King took over DC's main Batman book in 2016 at the start of the publisher's Rebirth era. His run came to an end with issue 85, though he's set to pen a 12-issue miniseries called Batman Catwoman, which will be illustrated by Clayman. The book releases later this year. Like I mentioned before, if you don't remember me actually stating it during my reviews, I was actually aware of this, that Tom King didn't want to kill off Alfred, and that he was not very happy with DC Editorial over it. It was 2 to 4 weeks after that when it was actually explained to me. And it makes sense. If you look at Alfred's death and the fallout, it was done very poorly. When Alfred is killed in front of Damian Wayne, there is no tension. There's no build up to the event. There's no Alfred's in peril. Is something going to happen? Are they going to get there in time to save him and they don't make it in time? You don't see him for like 2 issues until the very last page when he actually gets murdered in front of Damian. Like I said, it just happens. That's a huge event that severely impacts Bruce Wayne Batman. The very next issue, Tom King jumps the story back to Hawaii with Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle rehabbing Bruce after he got stabbed in the neck so he can go and take back Gotham from Bane. And at the very end of that story, Bruce tells Selina that Alfred is alive, he has given the signal, and that he sent Damian in. So if you look at the storytelling there, it's clear that Damian didn't actually witness Alfred die. He was just being messed with by Psycho Pirate. At least that's the way I interpreted it. And then there's virtually no mention of Alfred's death for like 2.5 months. And then we get an entire issue of Batman discovering that Alfred is in fact dead. And there's this big long letter and it was terrible. One of the worst executions I've ever seen. Basically, Alfred witnessed Bruce almost kill himself as a kid, and then Alfred frames his death in City of Bane as a heroic suicide. Just terrible stuff from Tom King, in my opinion. Now, as far as some people thinking maybe that I owe Tom King an apology for all my criticism of City of Bane and specifically of Alfred's death, absolutely not. City of Bane was a terrible story arc with or without Alfred's death, and King's entire Batman run is a complete failure. From about issue, 46 on, it could be earlier than that, but that's when I noticed everything fall apart for Tom King and his Batman run. While I will admit Nightmares is the worst story arc in that whole run, City of Bane isn't that far ahead of it. It is severely poorly executed, nothing makes sense, he didn't set it up correctly. It's never believably explained how Bane took over Gotham, why the Justice League would let that happen while Batman was incapacitated. And it's really stupid that Bruce would go climb a mountain rather than go to save his family in Gotham. There's just so many things wrong with the setup of that event. And it's just piss poor writing. It was terrible execution all around. And Alfred's death was horribly botched. I understand that it was actually pushed on Tom King from DC Editorial, but it's his job to make lemonade out of lemons, and he did not do that. He did a terrible job on the entire story arc. He botched the Alfred death. Now, why do I think DC Comics needed Alfred to die? Well, I'm pretty sure it was for a cash grab, so they could do this R.I.P. Alfred Pennyworth one-shot that's releasing next week. And I know they got a trade paperback commemorating the life and death of Alfred coming out as well. I'm pretty sure they forced this change on Tom King so they could do a cash grab. But Tom King is no saint in this. He totally botched the Batman run. It completely sucked. I'm not apologizing to anybody for shit. I stand by everything I said about the man's Batman run, his City of Bane story arc, and the death of Alfred Pennyworth. Now let's get to the second article from CBR.com. One of the most shocking moments in Tom King's long run as writer of the Batman ongoing comic book series was the brutal murder of Alfred Pennyworth at the hands of Bane. As part of his plot to systematically break Bruce Wayne physically and psychologically, Bane murdered Bruce's surrogate father figure before his eyes. Not true, he actually murdered him in front of Damian, snapping his neck. That did happen. As Alfred's death continues to haunt the entire Bat family, King has since hinted that the Wayne family butler's murder will trigger Batman's role in DC Comics' planned timeline revision known as 5G. Quote, 5G is out there, right? Like, people sort of know it's coming. As we head to the sort of big events that go forward, I think the death of Alfred as being a huge trigger moment that sort of starts these events off for Batman is losing Alfred, teased King in an interview with Word Balloon. That moment of Batman sort of losing Alfred was really his connection to humanity in a lot of ways. That was his real father. So I think that'll have repercussions, huge repercussions going forward, unquote. Alfred's death continues to have a visible emotional and psychological impact into James Tynion IV's run as the current Batman comic writer. Alfred's absence has permeated over the first several issues, with the Dark Knight more tortured than ever as he continues his never-ending crusade against crime in Gotham City while launching a city restoration project as Bruce in Alfred's honor. The emotional fallout of Alfred's death will be showcased in this month's special one-shot issue Batman Pennyworth R.I.P. number 1 on sale February 12th from DC Comics. I think most of you know I am not looking forward to 5G. I think it's a bad idea. This isn't the right time for it. DC Comics are following up their big Year the Villain event, going right into Snyder and Capullo's Death Metal event. That's going to be followed by a Convergent style event, and that will be followed by 5G, DC Comics Marvel Now style event. And will feature a new array of younger characters taking up the mantle of the classic heroes we all know and love. This is certain to piss off a vast majority of DC Comics readers. I don't think it's going to draw in a lot of new readers either. I believe DC Comics is trying to set up their own Ultimate style universe. I do see this failing pretty hard, and also tying it into Alfred's death, something that was not popular in a very unpopular run. You know, a lot of Batman readers despised Tom King's run by the time it was over, and they really despised Alfred's death, so tying that into 5G is another nail in the coffin for that event. I don't know what it is with DC Comics right now, but Dan Didio, who's a fucking moron to begin with, is really taking it to the next level. He's trying to really ascend up there. He's trying to show C.B. Cebulski and his legion of doofuses how it's really done, how you really fuck up a comic line, how you kill enthusiasm in all of your books. Congratulations, Dan Didio. You've tied one of the most unpopular things that you did in 2019 into the most unpopular idea that you have in 2020. I recently had a very interesting conversation with Ash from Ash on Comics, and we both talked about why we weren't really feeling the fire for the hobby like we were a couple years ago. Dan Didio and his stupid fucking ideas, and C.B. Cebulski and his legion of doofuses and their non-stop events and fucking reboots, it all plays into it. I do think you're all going to like that video. It should be out on Tuesday. Be looking out for that. This is the shit we're talking about. This is what we're fed up with. Murdering Alfred for no reason, tying it into 5G, something neither of us want. Just go back to making good comic books, because I think we've all had enough. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.